Right, okay, so first question. It's an x squared. So I know it's going to be an x in both of them. Two numbers that multiply to give me 27, add to give me minus 12. They must both be different. Both be negative, sorry, because it's going to be a positive. Are we happy with that? When you said solve, what makes this 0? What makes that 0? That would be 0 when x equals 9. And the other bracket would be 0 when x equals 3. This next one, it's a difference of two squares. So you've got to recognise that's what it is. It is y plus 10 and y minus 10. Right, this next one people really got stuck with. Okay? You needed to multiply these two together. And so you needed two numbers that multiplied together, and that made minus 216 when you multiplied them. So you needed two numbers that multiplied to give me minus 216 and add to give me minus 30. And you'll find that it's 36 minus 36 times 6 gives me minus 216, and it adds to give me minus 30, because minus 36 plus 6 equals minus 30. Then what you do, these two numbers, you factorise. So you rewrite the x's as these two numbers. So you write it as minus 36x plus 6x. And that gives you your minus 30x, minus 27. That's the tricky bit. So it's an extra thing that you have to do. You then split it in half and factorise each side. So if I look at this, 4 goes into 8 and 36, and so does x. So I end up with x and minus 9. Okay, if I look at these, I've got 3. Only 3 goes into both of those, and I'm left with an x and minus 9. And if you've done it correctly, you'll get the same repeated factor in both. So it's common to both of them. So you can rewrite this now as x minus 9 times 4x plus 3 equals 0. When you finish doing that...
It's 3x minus 27. Miss, surely... What? Miss, that's 3x in there. Yeah.
4... Oh, yes, 2x, sorry. 3 times 2x. Yeah. I'm rushing ahead. Right. Thank you, Jake Austin. Right. Thank you. So, what you've got is either 2x minus 9 equals 0, and that means 2x must be equal to 9, so x is equal to 9 over 2, which is 4.5. That's one of your solutions. Or 4x plus 3 equals 0. If I rearrange that, 4x equals minus 3, x equals minus 3 over 4, which is minus 0.75. Okay. Going back, what you've got is, I've got two numbers, either this is equal to 0, or this is equal to 0, because I've got two things multiplied together that equal 0. So I say, well, what would make that equal to 0? So I make it equal to 0, and I rearrange it to find out what value of x. And that gives me x equals 4.5. I do the same for the 4x plus 3, and make that equal to 0. So I want just x on its own. So 4x equals minus 3, x equals minus 3 divided by 4, which means x equals minus 0.75. And I think that's the bit that people get stuck on, the very last bit. How do I make each of those brackets equal to 0?
So is your answer just 4.5?
4.5 and minus 0.75.
How do we get the minus 0.75?
Because minus...
Right, okay. So, I actually think that should have been a lot more than 3 marks.
Whoa, and you've moved it.
Right, next question. Okay, so to complete the square, you need to halve the coefficient of the 8. So I rewrite it as x minus 4 all squared, but then I end up with 16 that wasn't there in the first place, so I take off 4 squared, and I've still got plus 21. If I rearrange that, I get x minus 4 all squared minus 16 plus 21, and I tidy that up and I get x minus 4 all squared plus 5.